Hi, this is Variety Shanaver for Akashi Media Podcast Live, giving you a commentary on the upcoming sentencing of R. Kelly tomorrow, June the 26th. Well, tomorrow is his fate to find out exactly if he's going to do a long sentence for this trial in New York City or Brooklyn, New York, and to find out if he's going to have life, if he's going to get 25 years, or if he's going to actually be emancipated, and if his appeal of his conviction would be overturned. Well, me personally, as I have said before, I grew up with Robert. I've known Robert since childhood. I was there when Robert and his brother were molested because his grandparents lived across the street from my grandparents. And I was there that morning that happened and took place when his mother was on her way to work and was left with his sister. I came over to play with him that day. And so I was there when that happened. I was there when we were in class together. And Miss McLean said that he was someday write for Michael Jackson and work with Michael Jackson. And I was sitting right next to him on that day. I used to sit next to him, and I also sit across from him in class directly. I've known him a very long time. He's came to my birthday parties that I had as a kid. We grew up together. I was around when he was working on his music to get his record deal. And he worked on his music a very long time to get his record deal. He used to visit me in Detroit and then leave and go back to Chicago. I was there when Barry Hankerson talked about him getting his record deal, when R. Kelly was going to get his record deal, and he said how he was going to use him to help him get Aaliyah in the door. And when he said used him, I didn't think of anything, or we didn't think of anything about being used in the way of being used as of what has happened to him in these years, but in the form of networking, of using someone. So that wasn't the mindset of that. I don't know if that was his mindset back then, but that wasn't the mindset that I had. I was there when he was dating Andrea. When he met Andrea, he started dating her. I was around back then for that. And Andrea was of age. And so I'm very familiar about their relationship. I've known Robert a very long time. I came out from Detroit with my other best friend named Dean, and my daughter. We left Detroit and relocated to California because I came out to California to go to film school. And when I got out here, I called Robert and said, you got to come see this beach called Venice Beach. It's beautiful out here. You'll love it out here. It has a basketball court, and you love basketball. And I was the person who invited him out to Venice Beach to see the beach and how nice it was and pretty it was, because it's a big difference from being in Detroit and having all the brick buildings and the brick houses, and then coming out to see palm trees and sand and water and sunshine. So it was a big difference in the atmosphere. And it was just like being in heaven, coming from the snow and everything, and then coming out to this tropical type of place. It was just a big deal to me, my friend, and my daughter it was beautiful. And then Robert eventually came out here to California and he visited. He did play basketball on the basketball court of Venice Beach. He was still pursuing his career and getting his record deal. Adria was somewhere hanging out on the beach with her friends. I didn't get a chance to see her the times that I came, but she was out here somewhere. Um, my daughter has been left on the bleachers, and he's never taken her to any of the hotels on site on the beach. I had an apartment. He has never done anything to my daughter. Um, Whenever I wasn't present, he's never done anything to harm anyone in my family. Everyone in my family loved Robert, like Robert. If they didn't, and if he had that kind of aura about himself of being anything of a rapist or a pedophile, he would have never been in my life. My family would never have allowed it. But everyone loved Robert, and I love Robert, and I've known him very, 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 very many years. So, as a friend, I would say that as his career went on and he moved on to Andrea and got married, sometimes you just give your friends that space. When they get married and they have relationships, and basically, that's what I did with him. That's what I did with Floyd Mayweather. You know, um, Even though Floyd Mayweather and both of them still had people in their lives and friends in their lives, I just had my own journey, my own plans in my life, and I just moved on to do my thing, you know, with working and taking care of my daughter and things like that. And my friendship was never a friendship where a person is my friend that they had to buy me a car or they had to give me money or they had to give me a house or anything like that. That's not what my friendship was built on. My friendship was built on just being just a friend, just being a kid. That was basically it. Um, I was there when a friend of ours drowned in water. Um, I just have so many events of being around Robert in his beginnings that I know he's very sensitive. He's funny. He likes laughter. He's quiet at many times. He can be to himself many times. Um, there's just things that I just know about him. I do not know anything about the monster that people have come in contact with or met or dealt with or whatever on that level. I can only tell you what I know about him from my experience with him. Um, I myself feel that he's going to be emancipated. And the reason why I feel that is because I'm a mother and I'm a woman. And what I look at is facts. The first thing is that I'm going to say this. It would not have taken a video for me to find a man guilty of molestation of a child or rape of a child. It would not have taken a sex tape. What would have taken would have been if I were in that position, I would have taken my child, if it happened, to the doctor, to the hospital, and I would have had her under an OBGYN examination. I would have had her swabbed down. They would have had to get hairs, saliva, sperm, sweat, skin, something. That is a very concrete evidence that a child would have been penetrated. And there was penetration for this person that was in this video. And believe me, I would not have needed a video. It wouldn't have mattered if he was a celebrity or not. It would not have taken a video to convict someone of a sex crime. Not for me, it wouldn't have. It just would have been enough for me to just take them to the OBGYN emergency hospital and file a police report and go from there. That would have been enough. So, as far as what has been told in the media, as far as the situation with the sex tape or whatever and how it came about with Sparkle's niece or whatever, she's still responsible of what happened to her niece for the fact that, to me, in my opinion, she took her there. She brought her there. She left her there for a few days. And it wasn't just on one occasion, it was on a couple of occasions. And me personally, as a mother, as a woman, I know for a fact that if a child had anything like that happen to them, they are not going to be the same mentally. Their facial expression is going to be different. Their demeanor is going to be different. They're going to say something. Even if they have fear and you ask them, did something happen here? What went on here? Because I would have asked at that moment in person when I came to pick up a child. I would have said, wait a minute. Did something happen here in front of him? I would have asked in front of him. I wouldn't have waited on no damn sex tape. I would have questioned that child right then and there in front of the person. Because you're going to get a reaction from both. Women, grown women who have met him and then they bring another woman over to meet him, to deal with him, you're responsible too. Because if you bring another woman over to a man's house that supposedly have this past, these rumors, or this type of actions on women or children, and you go there with a friend and drop them off and leave them, and if you have something like that sexually forceful happen to you, you can't be my motherfucking friend either. Because I'll beat that ass. You gonna leave me with a guy who beat and raped and beat up women and then come back and get my ass? That don't make no damn sense. So I'm just saying, it don't make no damn sense. So either party led someone else to him. So Sparkle dropped off her niece. You took her there. Your ass need to be locked up. There's no scapegoat for the fact that you knew something when you was trying to get your record deal and get your music off the ground. So you had already been in his presence before then, before your niece, as far as I'm concerned, far as what was told in the media. You took her there. You need your ass locked up. It has nothing to do with, a tape is what gets him convicted or whatever. Or no, fuck that. You left her there. You took her there. You brought her there. You are responsible for the shit happening. Had you not taken her there, it would have never happened. Just that damn simple. Because you're a grown ass woman who left a child with an adult unattended. It don't matter if he was a godfather, whatever. If you were suspicious of something when you were trying to get your record deal on, then you knew ahead of time. Then you got the lesbians. Just like when Mike Tyson was in a hotel with another woman. And at the time, I guess he was married to Robin Givens. And he was in a motel or a hotel, whatever. And then one of these cheerleaders or something, or whatever she was, models, came to his room at night. And then she claimed that he had sexually assaulted her. She didn't wait 30 motherfucking years to say that, now did she? No, she didn't. She put it out there immediately. Then you have some people talking about, they didn't want anybody to know because they didn't want to be blackballed in the industry. What the fuck does that got to do with any damn thing? Rape is rape. Sexual assault is sexual assault. It could be another producer that does it. That wouldn't have stopped me from doing nothing, because if I got the talent, ain't nothing gonna stop me anyway. If I have the network, the talent, and the people behind me that I need, it's not gonna stop me anyway. So why the fuck would that matter? Burning your bridges in the industry. Everybody in the industry ain't worth you being with in the first place. What difference does it make? I just go on what I feel. And I just, this whole thing about what he's been with over 30 women or more, or however women. I didn't even forget surviving R. Kelly. But if he gets acquitted tomorrow, then he's going to be R. Kelly, the survivor. With some damn lawsuits and defamation cases coming right after. I myself personally just feel that, okay, you got the star witnesses on Surviving R. Kelly that they had the two lesbian relationships. So you have two women who are lesbians and they sleeping with one man and the same man at the same time. And then you have other women who supposedly with 30, 40, 50 women. I don't know how many women were up there because I didn't see the show, but it was quite a bit of them up there. And this is very current year. So that was last year that they took place with that Surviving R. Kelly TV show, right? 21 or 2020. You have two women in the years of 2020, 21 or 22, then 2020 or 2021, which is very current, 30 years later, and you have two women who are lesbians, and they sleep with the same guy who was acquitted 30 years ago. And 30 years ago, he's supposed to have given somebody herpes and HIV. Yeah, and today's date, currently, did they say that he gave them herpes and HIV or AIDS? The answer is, I don't think they did. I think the answer to that is no. Now, I'm a heterosexual, so I guess when you use the dildo, I would assume they share it. And they probably don't wipe it off. I guess they switch it up or something. I don't know what they do with it. But that could have been transferred from one woman to another woman in that case, if they're going to use the same dildo on each other. Had that happen. And I doubt very seriously if you have someone like Portia, who is now on a reality show, but said that she was also a victim. And she is engaged or married now and has had children. I haven't heard anything about her saying that he gave her HIV or herpes or AIDS either. And she's still having babies. And she's still fucking other people afterwards and still moving on with her life and having other relationships. So my thing is, if a person who has giving someone HIV, herpes, or AIDS, or any of that, like they claim that R. Kelly supposedly had done them, then for the protection of the public, not just him being someone who has been accused and convicted of sexual assaults or whatsoever, if the victims are still out there and they have these diseases, how do we handle that publicly? Does that mean it's just okay for him to be convicted and then they move on and give AIDS and herpes and these sexually transmitted diseases to other people too? And we are supposed to just have sympathy for them? But is it okay for them to move on with their lives and just start spreading that shit around? Because I don't think it's okay for them to be spreading that shit around to some damn body else. There are people who have said that, victims who have said that, okay, that he didn't want to use a rubber. I'm a grown ass woman. And after all of the preaching and marching that women do for pro-abortions or whatever it is, for being able to say, this is my body and I can do what I want with my body and everything, to have an abortion, to have a right to have an abortion. If you can do that, don't tell me you can't tell a motherfucker that if you don't put this condom on your dick, then you ain't getting no pussy. Don't tell me you can't do that. That's bullshit. So if you got that right to have an abortion, you got a right to say no condom, no ass. Just that simple. Now, if he's just going to just straight out just take it, then that's different. But if you say put this motherfucker on, or there's no ass, then then how can you even stand up and be someone and even say pro-rights on having an abortion then? That don't make no damn sense. Even that is effective of saying you will go ahead and pursue on taking a chance on getting pregnant, getting an STD, but then you want to have the right to have an abortion at the same time when you had the choice to make not to do it in the first damn place. It all comes down to accountability as the person involved who want to be victims and victimized. And a lot of people know that's just not their thing. Because a lot of people know if a person is famous and have money, a lot of women are going to take the chance in getting pregnant because they want to get paid. They want to be in the newspapers with the guy. They want to be in pictures with the guy. They want to have a ring on their finger and say that he's mine, he's with me. I know he's had these relationships with other women, but it's different with me. He's not like that with me. He's with me, so it's not like that with me. With us, we're cool. I just feel that that there's just not enough evidence to me for a long sentence. And I don't think that the judge would have given him an appeal for his conviction had she thought he was guilty. I don't think she would have given it. I really believe that she thought he was not guilty. And I know back then, Adria, when she started dating him, she was ready to get up out of her parents' house. She was like, I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to be a dancer. I'm going to be dancing with R. Kelly. Our fast ass. But she was a sweetheart, though. I know Andrea's family, they live next door to me as well. At the time on the street called Wyoming. I just don't, I don't see it being a long term. I see him being acquitted tomorrow based on these type of facts. And they didn't say anything about, I haven't read anything yet this whole year that has 9 months that he's been waiting for his appeal for his conviction to go through for this sentencing. I haven't read anything that they had evidence on any of these STDs or that women have given, that he has given it to them, or they had gynecology records or any of that. And shame on any parent that has never taken their child to a gynecologist to be looked over to see if they had any of that up in them. Shame on any parent that has not. And shame on you for if you did take your child to a gynecologist and then found out that he had not done anything and not say anything either. But like I said, me personally, it would not have taken a sex tape to throw a motherfucker in jail or prison. It would not. It would have been just me going to the emergency by itself and have an examination by a doctor. Period. And having it documented and making a police report and having his ass picked up. Because each time that Robert has gone into incarceration is because Robert turned himself in. Robert has never been picked up by the law enforcement, and they have never come to his house and arrested him for any kind of sexual assault, not even when helicopters were flying around over his house. They didn't even come to his house. They just flew over his house. Don't you think that's kind of bizarre? Now, this pastor, Savage, I know for a fact that pastors like to get involved with different programs for money. Like they like to build houses and apartments. They like to be in programs for people where they want to house the homeless and stuff like that, and have these programs and have people set up in homes and they be in the same rooms. Like they'll have these homes that they have them in the same rooms, and you share room with another person and have 2 beds in each room, and they make their money like that off the government. They do this all over. All over. And something like that, they create their own businesses, so on and so forth. And they're in the business to network with other people so they can get money. And I myself don't see how, well, Robert's smart anyway. And so is Floyd Mayweather. You know, they both have common sense. You know, James Brown, the Godfather, was my uncle because he married my Aunt Dee Dee. And he said he didn't have anything but a second grade education, but look where he's been, all over the world. Private jets and everything. Been to the White House and everything. He's been further than people with a degree. So my thing is that I just don't see how, well, if I didn't know how to read, I would have things said out loud. I would put it on the screen and then it would be read out loud. So maybe that's how he functions. If he can't read, then I would have something read out loud to me, and I would have had contracts read out loud. And I know that this Surviving R. Kelly television show is definitely a defamation of character, and is definitely a copyright infringement on the fact that he is a celebrity, a living celebrity, and it was illegal for a producer to get money to produce a TV show and not allow him to read the contracts, not allow him to read the content of the show, when it was said that this was supposed to be something about a documentary on his life story, on his life. It didn't say anything about he wasn't told anything about it being a documentary on who he slept with in the past. So that was misleading, and that is fraud, and that is a defamation of his character, and that is libel. And they did not have his permission to say anything about his personal life on camera. So all that is illegal by The people on television, the victims, and the producers, and the network. Because he's a living celebrity who has a right to approve a production about himself that someone else wants to write about. And that's federal as well. I know people who know some of the women that were up there on the Surviving R. Kelly TV documentary that said they actually saw some of these women at Judge Judy and Judge Joe Brown TV shows in California. And these are courtroom TV shows. And I know some people who have gone to these TV shows with them. And they pay cash at the end of the taping. So they know how a court setting is set up. Because they've gone on these television shows as background extras enough to know. So I don't believe that they've dealt with just him alone. And women in this industry, they love to, when they want to get in and they trying to get in, or they have gotten in, and they have someone that's famous that they're dealing with, that they've gotten in the door with. They want to let their people know that they down with them and that they're in with them. So they're going to start bringing them around the famous person, introducing them to him, bringing them over to their house, bringing them to events, so everybody know that they really down and they really in with the end and in the know. Which is another way of saying that they lead them to that person because they're in the door. They're in the circle. They're in the network. And they're cool with them. Because they have done something for them as well. But as long as it's going their way and everything is all good, nobody has anything to complain about. But it's the moment that a person don't want to be there anymore or any longer, that's when they get a damn attitude and want to be revengeful. Well, I really don't have much more to say. I'm just going to allow this to be in God's hands, and I'm sure Robert is going to do the same thing to let it just be in God's hands. I mean, right now, Robert Kelly is sitting in the same exact prison in Brooklyn as the same one as the television character Lucious Lyons was sitting in on the television show Empire. And Lucious actually is the name of Robert Kelly's father. What a coincidence. And Lucious' television character was in show business, in the record business, just like R. Kelly. But Lucious Lyon did get emancipated. So let's see. This is the month of Juneteenth. Let's see if God will allow Robert Kelly to have his emancipation in a month of Juneteenth. We'll see. Tomorrow, June 26, 2022. This is Variety Show on Verify Kashi Media Podcast Live, giving you a commentary of the upcoming sentencing or acquittal or emancipation of the phenomenal Pied Piper, one of our greatest producers of all time, Robert Kelly of R&B and soul, a great writer, a great singer, a great producer of our era. In this industry of entertainment. We'll see what the fate is tomorrow with his trial in Brooklyn. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate the listeners. Some of you do not like for me to do commentary on R. Kelly, and some of you are fans like I am who don't mind listening. However, this fate tomorrow and this conviction tomorrow, sentencing or emancipation, would definitely be a record of history. Stay tuned, because I am. Thank you.